What's going on, team? It's Caddy with Money Vesting. I hope that you all are having an amazing day. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, and I'll give you guys a technical analysis update on those two market indices. As always, if you guys enjoy these videos, please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel. Also, make sure that you subscribe if you're new and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and or technical breakdowns. So today again was kind of like a sector rotation type day when we saw big tech essentially selling off. So you'll see companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Facebook, Netflix, Tesla, AMD, Zoom, they were all in the red by 1.5%, 2%, 3%, or 4%. And companies like American Airlines, Boeing, Caterpillar, GE, Chevron, Ford, ExxonMobil, 3M, IBM, some of those industrial energy companies, along with travel, tourism, airlines, and cruise lines, and they were up as well. The only tech company that was kind of like up was Apple because of the new price target that was put on this stock. But that being said, the S&P 500 in general was up close to 27 basis points, but the Nasdaq was actually down because it's more tech heavy. So you can see that ticker symbol IXIC was down close to 39 basis points, and then Dow Jones, which is a lot more diversified compared to the S&P and the Nasdaq, was up close to 1.3%, closing in at 27,791, and the S&P closed at 3360. So now that being said, if you have been following up with any of my previous market updates, you will have a really good understanding on what levels we've been watching very closely in terms of the key support and resistance levels. So this right here is going to again be the daily candle or the daily chart rather, and it's just been a lot of buying going on in the markets. I mean, the markets again in the S&P 500 more specifically dipped all the way down to lows of 33.35. So you can see that this right here is going to be today's candle, and at one point we were trading as low as right here at 33.35, and we got bought up to close at 33.60. And in my previous updates, this right here was kind of like a bear camp, so this was a red rectangle, but now I'm going to officially switch this to a bull camp or a more near-term support because of how much buying has taken place today in the markets at that level. So if you were to jump over to the 1 hour chart, you guys will kind of notice what I'm talking about. This right here is where the markets open, so August 10th at 9:30 a.m. So we push up a little bit, get sold off the next hour all the way down here, and then you can see that over the next few hours we just continue on that momentum, and the S&P pushing up over 40 basis points to close out at 33.60. So the next support is definitely going to be at 33.30, which is what this represents right here, and then there's going to be also a strong support at 33.50 to 33.51 level, which is what this horizontal line represents. Interesting to see how our support is just getting pushed up every single day. So if you were to kind of pull back on the chart, you'll kind of see that we're coming from 3,000, right? So this right here was kind of like the support back on July 30th, and since then we haven't tested the 3,000 level ever. So we pushed up, consolidated, pulled back, found this support at 32.30, and then pushed up, and then this support hasn't been validated ever again. And then we pushed up, breakout, consolidated here. This 32.80 started acting as a really strong support. So this green rectangle was our next bull camp. We consolidate, breakout, consolidate, breakout, consolidate, breakout, and now we're just starting to consolidate again. The only question is whether 33.50 is going to hold its support, or if we're going to come back down to retest 33.30, 33.17, or even down to 32.80. In my opinion, it's really challenging because at one point we were being driven by big tech, which also represents a big chunk of the S&P 500, but now we're seeing some of those epicenter stocks or recovery stocks essentially driving the markets higher. Now the interesting thing is they're obviously not driving the markets as aggressively as tech was, but it's still keeping the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones in the green. So that's a good thing. In terms of the Nasdaq, which is going to be ticker symbol IXIC, if you were to kind of look back from the 4 hour chart, you'll kind of notice that we have been trading in between this range and my prediction was kind of like this double top resistance to act as some type of support, right? So this double top resistance at 10,840 I had mentioned could potentially act as some type of support moving forward. And you guys will notice that today, this right here is where the markets opened at August 10th, 8 a.m. We sell off all the way down to 10,849, and then the next 4 hours, which is what this candle represents, we push up a little bit to close at 10,968. So there's definitely a lot of support at that level, at this 10,800 level. The only question is whether we're going to hold this support or we're going to break below this level to pull back down to this higher low, which is what this 10,600 or 10,540 level is going to represent, right? So that's where the higher low essentially falls. So we have bounce off of this higher low here, bounce off of this higher low here. So it's going to be really interesting for us to see whether this support holds or if you break below that level. So the next resistance for the Nasdaq is sitting right here at 11,120, so right around the all-time high. And then if we do break out of this level, then I can potentially see the Nasdaq retesting higher highs, which is what this trend channel is going to represent right here. So that's going to be sitting at 11,640. So it's definitely very interesting times in the markets right now. If we were to look at some of the other stocks such as Microsoft, again, had a huge sell-off of almost 2%. But this support that I had mentioned in my previous update on Microsoft at $206 level validated its support today. So you can see that we sell off all the way down to that level at around 8 a.m. The next 4 hours, you can see that we push up and then ended up closing at $208.25. Now, if the $208 support were to break for Microsoft, and if you do reach below that level, then the next support is obviously going to be sitting in this green rectangle at $201 to $200 level. So now talking about Amazon and quickly going over exactly what happened for this stock, you guys know that we had recognized a resistance at around 3260 to 3265, right around this triple top rather, where the Amazon stock has essentially gone rejected multiple times. And then more recently, you can see that right around that level, so around 3200 level, we essentially find resistance and pull back all the way down to 3090. So the next support is going to continue to sit at 3090 for Amazon, which is what this level represents. And if we do break below this level, then the next support is going to be at 2917 to 2900 level, which is what this is going to be, and we have previously bounced off of this support. So now quickly going over some other stocks, I want to talk about Intel as well, ticker symbol INTC. And I'd mentioned that after this significant sell-off all the way down to lows of $46, I do see some type of upside for the stock based on the RSI, based on the MACD. And one of the interesting things right now is that not only does the Intel stock has validated a support at $46, but after this big push higher, it is now also making some type of higher lows, right? So if you were to look at this trend line, you'll see that it's not going as low as it did the previous time. So that's definitely a sign of strength, and you can see the RSI is also pushing up higher. But the only question is whether it's going to make a higher high or if it's going to make a lower high. So for Intel to actually make a higher high, we do need it to essentially push up all the way to $50 range. But if we do see some type of rejection, then we can potentially see Intel making some type of lower highs and getting rejected at that price point. So that being said, it's still channeling into some type of a triangle. And then moving forward, if there's enough volume, we could see a potential breakout. And last but not least, I want to quickly go over Apple, because Apple is one of the most valuable stocks in the markets right now. And just based on the RSI and based on the MACD, you can see that how overbought it was, and it's still continuing on this rally. And the split is going to be the 4-to-1 split is going to take place towards the end of August. And you can see how it was up on the day of close to 1.5%. That's also because one of the analysts on Wall Street put a new price target, the highest price target Apple's ever seen, at close to $515 per share on the stock. So based on the 4-hour chart, the next support is going to be sitting at $440 level. So you can see how that was previously acting as some type of resistance until we finally break out of that level and then consolidate, pull back, and that has now started to act as really strong support. Now in terms of resistance, that is going to be sitting at $457, which is the near-term resistance for the stock. So those are some of the levels that I will personally be watching very closely for Apple stock. As always, if you guys did enjoy this video and my quick technical breakdowns on all these stocks, stocks and the market indices. Please make sure to drop a like. It really helps out with the channel and recommends this video to other people who might be interested in watching. Also, make sure that you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future market updates and videos related to investing and or technical breakdowns. As always, happy investing, and I will see you guys in the next video.